Hello everyone, and welcome to another session with the Paintology drawing app. I've been doing something slightly new, which is putting the scheduled uh, live stream in the future so that you have time to actually prepare and have it in your calendar as well when you come to the tutorial and draw along with me. So this tutorial is going to be on portraits. Recently I've been doing quite a few portraits, and I'm going to show you a drawing of a portrait. But before I do that, I want to, if you're new to the live stream, I'd like to go over just a few things so you are more, you understand the angle and the reason for doing such a live stream. Firstly, I use the Paintology drawing app that's available for Google Android users from the Google Play Store, and you can go to it and go to the Google Play, type in Paintology app, and you should be able to see it. And this is typically the way I draw. I primarily use my phone for drawing, and I've made a lot of the live streams using my finger only. But if you're drawing a lot, it would be worth buying a cheap stylus that you can bring out and just start drawing. So this is, but finger is just fine. And right now I'm using a stylus with my Note 10, and because I have some cramps because I've been doing a lot of drawings lately, so I'm just using the light brush of the stylus, yeah, and the light nib. So this is the other items I want to go through are if you following along to this YouTube video live session, you can go to paintology.com, then go down just below the video, okay? Just go down to just below this where the video is, and you'll see this live streams Google Classroom Udemy. Click on that and you'll come to a page where it will actually tell you the day of the month, which is 20th, and then the drawing that we're going to do. So this is the Paintology channel, and the reference image is this one. So we're going to draw this male portrait on our phone, and I'm gonna introduce you to a few techniques. So I hope you're all prepared for this drawing with the Paintology app opened in landscape mode. And the reason for doing landscape is because I'm having an issue with YouTube in doing the portrait mode, so bear with me while I fix that. But a lot of my recent drawings have been in landscape. So when you're on the home screen, you can have My Paintings, which is all your saved drawings. And just yesterday, I did a couple of anime drawings just to introduce you to block coloring and also line drawing. Okay. And I have done a portrait very rapidly of this one. You probably know Emma Watson. And as you can see, she's in the grayscale mode, but we can deselect the grayscale and get her in color. So exit drawing and then select it again. And then hopefully she'll appear in color. So look. Yep. So this is the kind of drawing that we're going to make, and I'm going to introduce you. This was done in under an hour, very rapidly. And so the premise of Paintology is different from other digital drawing apps, which allows anyone to pick up some tools and start drawing right away. But the philosophy of Paintology, the underlying, is to teach you techniques, art techniques that makes us some really good artists in the traditional medium And techniques are the what allows me to draw in this manner. You can see that I don't use tools, blending, or layers to do such. If you want to use that, that's perfectly fine, but they are actually confined to 3D anime type drawings. They're quite useful for that, but for fine arts in the traditional sense, it's you will be limited by those tools. So you have to, some stage, go beyond what the tools can do. Or if you're a beginner in digital drawing, this is a great opportunity time to get into drawing with the Paintology. And keep in mind that I'm not trying to show you or say Paintology makes you a good artist. That's a completely wrong notion to use, just like many beginners think a particular app is going to make them a great artist. It just does not. It's basically boils down to techniques and core skills in art, which Paintology teaches you those core skills. So when you do learn about with the Paintology, you're learning the fundamental core skills of art, which are tones, values, shapes, form, drawing strokes, perspective, you name it. And that's the reason why you can make um, drawings like this, and it's all down to technique. So a lot of people mistake my digital artwork to something done with traditional. It's very hard to tell, and for obvious reasons, because I don't use digital tools. I use the techniques to develop these skills fast, and these are the techniques that I want to teach you and show you how to draw. So this one for famous Chris Pratt, as you're probably all aware of. This was also done under an hour, and no blending in the sense that digital tools are used. I went through this very rapidly. Okay, so that's what some of the drawings, and then other types of drawings you can do. I've got many examples. I can show you this bear and cubs that I did here on this on the pencil on the phone as well. You can see that straight away I've managed to create the illusion of furs, but it was all down to just random strokes of the brush. That's all it is. Look at that. There you can see. So it's all down to trying to trick the eye into thinking, and that's what most of the great artists did for for many centuries. Traditional, they try and draw on a big canvas. They use a big canvas, and when you get close, it's a mishmash of paints, and it just looks like it just gives the idea, the notion of a dog or a cart, like in the Haywain and Constable. It just gives you, and Monet's painting water lilies, But when you go back, you can see the whole form. So this is, in essence, what drawing is all about, and the digital medium does not have to be tools oriented, which is how it's evolved. And there is, and I do a lot of explanation on that. And so you can read some of the blog posts and some of the many of the blog posts on paintology.com to understand more about the evolution of the digital medium and how it came to be where it is, and why many people choose to draw with the tools. It was actually designed for web and illustrations when the booming internet web, World Wide Web, came into existence, and therefore those tools had just taken a seat in the digital drawing world in the sense of tablets and phones, and my approach has been always to go to the underlying belly of the digital medium, which was to create techniques, and therefore I don't use all the tools that you see. You see, when I use a line brush, you can see I have this size and the density setting. This is what allows me to get opacity of the color that I choose to use and vary it and thus do blending like you saw in the portrait. So that's what we're going to do with the portrait drawing that I have in mind. So just some other things is the tutorials section has been designed for you to learn and pace yourself in the drawing, and it has comes with 600 tutorials that you can work at your own pace and do it. And the other item that I forgot to mention, a very important one, oops, is the Google Classroom. And if you join that Google Classroom for free, it's all free. You can see lots of, oops, you can see lots of these the structured class that takes you through learning the fundamentals of art through Paintology, yeah? So you can pick it up to your own pace. And if you ever felt that you can't draw it, people were born with that skill, I'm going to show you through this actual portrait drawing that that's a complete myth. And I'm going to introduce you to something called the drawing process, which is not usually taught in traditional art classes or in academic art classes. In fact, even the academia are not aware of drawing digitally any different to the mainstream way, and that's a bit of a sad fact because the reason why Paintology has evolved to where it is because I'm a technologist as well as I enjoy doing art, and I encourage everyone to do art, to take their time out, do art. And Paintology gives you that much more room for growth compared to other digital apps, which just dives into tools, yeah, to make you draw. So let's load the image. I think I've covered everything. So I go to trace drawing and I'm going to load this portrait here, and I'm going to do that. So let me put this in the corner here, and then we'll decide how we're going to do this. And the first thing is, whenever you undertake a drawing and you have a goal in mind, and your goal is based on how well you do in drawing, and it could be just line drawing, and that's as far as you'll go, and then you won't go anywhere beyond that because you don't know how. So which is total makes complete sense, but it would be a mistake for you to go up to a point in the drawing and say that's it, that's all I can do, because then what you've done is you basically have shut the door on the possibilities of taking this drawing to the level you want to go. And if you're not open and prepared for it, then it is not the fault of the medium or the skill that you're learning, but your own personal decision not to go any further ahead. So, and then if you go far as dismissing that you don't have any talent, you are only really you're misdirect guiding yourself. You will probably do that in any other skill sets that you want to acquire. So always keep that in mind, that you as an individual can take skills to any level you want. It's just your choice. It is not up to the difficulty or the challenges of that skill set. Anyone can master it as long providing they put enough to keep their mind open and open to possibilities of how they can draw. So I'm here to take you through a drawing, which most people do not break down a drawing. Good artists will probably not. They will mysteriously take you from zero all the way to finish, and you're thinking, wow, I got to do the same thing. And then a lot of people will fail because they don't learn the techniques. They think they have to go from zero all the way to the finished and then throw their arms up in the air and say it's a born skill set, which doesn't tally with them, right? Which is totally misleading if you think like that, and I would discourage you from thinking like that. If you're this this Paintology will actually open doors for you. It has for me as well, and I'm able to do photorealistic drawings relatively easily and fast with the digital medium because I have made all these possible through the techniques and the art course skills that are laid down by the Paintology app. So let's look at what we have here. I loaded it into Trace, and Trace, I have to tell you, is one of the most significant ways to improve your drawing skill. I'm not here to show you a piece of drawing that I'm going to take from zero. If you've come for entertainment, fine, but I would rather you watch my 5-minute video, the shorts, if that's what you're looking for. But if you're come to learn, which is what what my aim is here, then you've come to the right place because I want you to learn the techniques. I want you to see how easy the techniques and overcome your doubts and hesitation about drawing. So we have this trace mode, and it is very important. Don't tell anyone, don't let others tell you that you shouldn't start off with trace. Come on, these people don't know what they're talking about. And I'm here to tell you that trace was a powerful tool used by many artists around the world, and also many of the previous grandmasters. Yeah, so they've all used trace to improve their drawing. And now that we have digital, we have this powerful trace feature, which Paintology has taken advantage of. And so if you're at the top half of the trace bar, you can use this color picker on the bottom left here, and then you'll see, let me take the brush. I'm going to keep the line brush at 100%, and I'm going to show you I'm going to select the brush, see that, and then select the black hair, see that, and then select the cheekbone here, and then select the neck here. Look at the colors we have here. You see that? That's all it takes. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this drawing. The problem is beginners tend to think you're going to have to do something in one pass, one drawing pass. There is no such thing as one drawing pass. If you look at most of the good artists, even on YouTube, you should be aware that they're building up a painting or a drawing from zero all the way to finish. And at the early stages of their drawing, it looks like blocky, and with paints, it looks very blocky. And then they get better and better. They go into more details, they build it up, and then they finally end up with the finished drawing or painting, right? That's exactly how we're going to do this, and that's the natural way of painting and drawing, and we're going to do this portrait in exactly that manner. So let's go ahead and now keep the top bar just above the midpoint so you can pick the colors of the reference image. If you're at the bottom here, the color picker will pick the colors of your drawing, and it's white, as you can see. Okay, so if I were to go here, let's pick this color, and I'm picking the color picker. It won't pick the color of the reference image, just pick the color of the of my drawing. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to lay down the larger colors, and usually I go to 17% or 20%, and then let's see if that works. That's a little too big, so I'm going to go to sorry, not 7. Let's go to 11%, and let's see if that, yeah, that seems to work. So let's do the first pass. Let's think of it as like drawing step one of the drawing process. Step one of the drawing process. So let's start by doing step one of the drawing process. So this is what I do. I continuously select the color picker and just go and find where the tones are the same. This is where your appreciation of tones comes into play here, because as you keep doing this, you'll notice that keep selecting the color tones, the color picker, because it's picking out the different tones, right? Okay, there. It's picked out the different tones in that region, okay? That's all I'm doing. So here, see how dark that is? And then you'll find that, well, okay, I do hear about tones, and tones are dark and light shadows. But remember, you're a beginner, and if you think that's all there is to drawing, just the appreciation of tones and no practice, then you know that you're not gonna be able to apply your understanding to the drawing. And the problem with people making drawings is that they usually show those fundamental training, unfortunately, in traditional, and it's very difficult to give you the explanation of tones like I'm doing here, because now you have the ability to take your phone and practice the tones and see it in practice, see tones in real life. So is there any drawing experience required here? No, you can quite easily do that yourself. So that's what I'm doing, just picking out the tones that change with the face. You can see the tones we know. Did you see how I managed to do that? Because I know the tones gradually change from the light, smooth flesh tone that's just below the eyes, and then it gradually fades to the darker region on the right side of the face. So this is a good training on portrait, but I'm not giving you a training on portrait. I'm just showing you how I'm taking advantage of these tones. There's some artists I know who actually the entire painting is based around tones, and because they know it's fundamental to good drawing. So here you're actually practicing a very fundamental art core skill of tones, and I'll show you how you deepen your knowledge of tones and improve your practice with tones. And it's the reason why I can do photorealistic drawings relatively easily in the digital medium without excessive use of the tools. In fact, without using the tools that many are used to. Okay, so let's just, so this brush is quite big, as you can see, right? But then I'm picking that, but that's all right. Don't think that you have to do something in the first instance, right away. Okay, so let's go here and see what we have. So we got the first drawing of the face, and I've deliberately left out the eye, because look at the size of that. That's not going to provide any details on the eye. So the hair is going to be very, it's quite uniform, so we can go relatively quickly. And you notice I went carefully around the face, because there the tonal variations change quite fast. Yeah. So let's do his hair there. And I'm not worried about the details, because people think that they look at a drawing and they think that they see shapes, but they don't necessarily see it in tones. I mean, I've done traditional for before I did digital, and I was good at drawing at school. And when I see a piece of art, I look at tones, not. I look at when I see a piece of something that I need to draw, I look at tones, not shapes. I think majority look at shapes, and that's what can put them off, because when they see a shape, they draw in a line, in a line manner, in like a line brush, and that's as far as they can go. They don't understand that this whole image consists of tones. Yeah, look at how these tones change. Look at that, right there, and then it gets dark here. Can you see how your mind, your brain tunes into these different tones? Right there, there. That's that's not so hard for someone to do, is it? If you follow along to what I'm doing, and people are like flabbergasted, thinking, how did I go from there to there? But I don't look at the final. I don't know what the final. Trust me, I never know what the final drawing. I sometimes surprise myself, because I don't know just what the final drawing is going to look like, and it's a lot to do with my experimental mindset. I have a tendency to experiment a lot, because I like to learn. That's one of the key points of how I go about my daily existence, is to learn something and to keep my mind occupied with growth, growth in understanding and doing something. I don't look for the same thing. If you're looking for the same thing each day, I'm pretty sure your life will become pretty boring. Yeah, you want to change it up. I was watching Bob Ross the other day. It just came on TV, and it was like, wow, he's got such a wonderful attitude to drawing and to life in general. Okay, so do you see what we got here? So we've built up this tone, the first pass, and to me, I think that should be quite easy for you to do, right? I don't think that's actually that difficult to do. But now your your tuning of the tones will increase with the brush size. There you are. I'm going to change it to about half that, about 4 or 5%, right? And then I'm going to go to the top part, and with that 5%, I can see if I've got the right brush size. Yep, for the details I couldn't get before, which were, yeah, there. Can you see? Now I'm zoomed in almost 400%. And why do you think a tiny phone like this can produce? It's a question for you. Why do you think this tiny phone can create photorealistic drawings? The answer is pretty simple. It's because you can zoom in. Can you zoom in with a piece of paper? No, this zooming in gives you like a space, sort of a virtual space of like an A3 size paper, and that's why you can get such tiny detail into this small screen. And it's so don't dismiss for a second that the phone is not good drawing because of its diminutive size. It's got the tools to, and I have made many drawings, very impressive drawings with the phone. And to be honest with you, I like the phone more than the tablet itself. In fact, I don't use the tablet that often now, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm just going through what I can see, and I'm going through it quite gently. I'm not rushing. Normally, I would work at more of a rapid speed than this, but since I'm showing you this, I want you to take your time and just draw the tones. That's all you're doing. You're letting the traced image do these tones. Okay, there is. the eyes there that we can see here, and see if that's quite big, but let's just lay that down for now, and then this down for now. Yeah, and then we can worry about the smaller details when we get to it. So the gaps I've left behind, I'm just filling that in, okay? Anything that you sort of couldn't get to with the bigger brush, I'm just going over that. And then as I'm doing that, I'm laying down a different set of tones that are very local to that smaller brush, and that gives it volume, shape, everything the artist is looking for in a particular drawing, right? The tones that make up a drawing, okay? And then you can see here, I can shape this as well. And then here, can you see there's some black here? And then pick some black here. All right. Okay. So you can see that as you zoom in, the tones are not only tones, but textures are coming into play. Yeah. This is such a fundamental exercise in training. Believe me, when you keep doing this, and it's fun, isn't it? I find it fun, even when I've done it so many times. It's so much fun because I'm not having to really think too hard about this whole drawing. When you're left with a blank canvas, just can you imagine when you got blank canvas to work with? How fun is that? When you got that's why paint by numbers is such a huge, very still of a huge popular in the world. And by the way, this there are many tutorials on paint by numbers in the tutorial section I was showing you earlier. Look at these tones there, right? I'm sort of defining tones at this lower level, right? It'll be darker there, right? You know that. And then, okay, let's see what we have. Look at that. We've practically created a shape that looks very similar to the actual person we're drawing. You could think of the drawing past two, isn't it? So step number two. Now, here's a very fundamental point I'm going to mention, and especially to beginners who may think they know what they're looking at. Everything they look at has to come into play, which is not true. What you look at has in terms of drawing and painting has evolved for that particular person through much practice. And if you think you're going to get there in one go, you're clearly mistaken, isn't it? You should not fool yourself into thinking that. You should know, you should, in fact, in drawing and painting, the reason why I'm good is not necessarily that I have exceptional skills in art or special skills in art. I'll tell you one of the important secrets of drawing and painting is to keep your mind open. Okay? Now take that point down. When you come to drawing and painting, keep your mind open, which means you should not have any prejudgment of how to go about. Pretend, just think you're a sponge, has not even seen the world or the water, and you're absorbing everything that's around you from what's been said, and then you're going with the flow. So if you really want to rapidly increase in your art, think of yourself like a sponge and do not have any preconceptions of how drawing is done. Just because you've seen art being done in the real world does not make you an expert in art. That's why I sometimes I'd be at loggerheads with art curators who think they know what about digital drawing and they've never done drawing in their lives, but somehow that makes them an expert in talking about, because all they're doing is promoting art, and the artist, they're not promoting the techniques and the style of art or anything like that. They don't have any skills. And some of them come to understand when I talk to them about digital art, because a lot of them have a digital art has a very bad rap, which is that it's not art because it's done digitally. Well, what? Somehow the mouse has taken on a life form of its own and just made a drawing. Oh, come on. It's people behind it who create art. And anything, even if you draw a line, it's art. Put a chalk line on the pavement, that's art. Draw to a shape, that's art. Okay? Anything done by a human in that sense is art, unless, of course, it comes to AI art, which I don't want to go there yet. So that's what we have here. And now what we can do is you will see that as you, now we're going to go closer to those eyes because those are the details we want to get. It's usually the focal point. And look what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that down to even further, 2.25%. Did I save that? I want to save it. Okay, so let's pick the color brush and then let's see what we have here. Look at that. We have just enough width to provide even more color tones and color values. Look, see? Now you can see textures that you've never seen before. And these textures are effectively tones, aren't they? Look, do you see how I got to the eyelid? The eyelid I didn't get to before. And then I'm just using the color picker to cover the areas that, right, and then keeping it very tight. So that I'm actually getting such detail that I didn't get with the bigger brush. And this, it really will help you to develop your drawing, because you're now getting into the thick and thin of drawing, but you have this wonderful digital method of getting close to the details which you didn't have before. So yeah. And you will see many paintings that they start with a canvas and then they don't really, they just work with the whole canvas. But here we have the phone, which allows to get into tiny minute details, and that's what makes the drawing. Look at the little right eye now. You see how the eye has come, such a minimal effort. And then we'll do that again. You can see it looks like an unusual shape, but we can clear that up, right? Okay. Uh, uh, then, if you can't see what's going on, always go to the image like this. Use the slider bar, and then go here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you something unique. Is that, look, I'm going back and forth between my drawing, and then I can pick the colors. Here, can you see that? There. I can pick the colors and then catch glimpses of the shape. You see, even at this, size, it's too big for the eye. There and then there. And then we have this color, the brown, which just goes on the outside here. And then they have the eyelashes. Right? Even at this size, it's so thick. You didn't think that was possible, right? So we're getting down to real tiny details. And you'd think that this didn't matter when it came to drawing, but trust me, this is what an image looks like. Is that your eyes, your brain tries to formulate what it sees, and then even if you do, that's how the great masters have done. You look at their what I was saying earlier, close up of their drawing canvas. Go to a museum, look at it. It's a splurge of colors, nothing more, and it's all a mishmash. But then you look way out, then you'll see that it forms. Have you seen many painters? They go and work the tiny details, and then they stand back and look at the whole picture. There's a reason for that, and this is one of the reasons. Seen that there? We've got this color that we want to put here, and then we'll come to it back again. But for now, we've got this. Okay. Now we can decide. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. So now I can see that I've got that white. So I'm going to take that and just okay. So I got that. And then this is a painting. So now what we can do is I can go to the ears, and I'm not sure if I use the brush for the ears. So I'm going to clean up the ears now. Oh, I forgot to mention something really important. You see, I've come to this drawing here. It was like the third pass, you could say. And I'm not finished yet. You know, you might be happy if you've reached this part with your drawing. But to me, now it's not there. You know, I need to take it further. First of all, there is some of the face, which is the blending here. You can see. Let me just show you what I mean. Here, blending, and then here, blending, right? And then here, blending, okay? There. And then I can see other parts like the ears that needs doing. So the reason I'm able to say this with conviction is that because I've reached this step. So this is the actual, and one of the most important points I want to mention is the drawing process. I may have repeated this earlier, but the drawing process dictates how you're going to go through the drawing. Had you not reached this level, you would not be able to make remarks. I need fixing around the ears, blending here, blending there, blending there. You would not be able to make those important decisions. Okay, so now I can go to the ears, and I can say, well, how am I going to do that? I've got the smaller brush. Can I actually add more details? Yeah. Right. So with the smaller brush, you can get more details. And then let the eye decide. So very quickly, have I used any special digital tools? No, of course not. I've just continued to draw. This is the pleasure of drawing. And I have drawn with, I use Photoshop. I'm a pretty advanced user of Photoshop, but I would not use it for drawing. And I would not recommend anyone beginning unless they want to be Photoshop experts and then join the commerce industry of creating illustrations and all that. For me, the pleasure of drawing is drawing like this. Okay, so I'm tightly localizing the paintbrush to reflect some of these tones. See, These are the tones that I'm picking up from looking at it so close. And now you can see, look at the ears, how it's improved significantly in a space of a minute or two, right? So now we can do the same thing. I'm not too happy with the eyes, and I would probably throw this question at you and say, what would you do to improve the eyes more? Well, the eyes has got much smaller features than the brush size. Look at my brush. Look at this. Yeah, look at that thickness compared to the details of the eyes. Right, look. What does that tell you? That tells me that I need to reduce that brush. Yeah, you got it. So let's take it down. 1.3 to 1%. Wow. So to do that more clearly, since we've got a lot of detail in our drawing, it's hard to see my drawing and the actual reference image. So I'm going to use this technique of just, yeah, you see what I'm doing? Just switching. And there's that lovely line there. Even that is too thick, but I think we can get away with it. And here, this actually helps you to copy when it comes to drawing in general. And when I say copy, I mean to be able to look at an image and draw it, simply draw it. And here, it's really good way of practice, superb way of practicing. Really will develop your skills so much faster. You'll be shocked at the progress you make. In fact, that when I started these live sessions a few weeks ago, I have seen my skills improve rapidly in areas that I've never thought possible. Okay, and then here, there, there. That's all the way. That's all artists do. You think it's like a magical, it's not. Now you can see clearly, seeing down to the minute detail of how they pull the drawing off. That's all they're doing. It's a bit darker here, right? And then we got this beautiful dark lashes, right? And then we got some lashes here, right? That's a bit dark, but that's all right. Then we got some dark here. So now we've managed to do that. Let's take a look how far the eyes has improved. That's not bad, is it? That's improved quite a bit. And now we can do the same thing with that tinier brush we have and get right into the details. This really will help you, trust me, in your overall drawing skills. Even me, I can see my progress on a weekly basis, not just. It's like incredible that how much progress you can make. And I'm not just saying that, I'm actually trying to be honest with you, is that if you're really serious, you should really give this method a try. So let's see if we can get that down. Did we? Yeah, we have got it down, right? And then we got this. So just giving a form and shape to the eye, right? It's got more shape than before, right? Yeah, and this is excellent way of copying and improving your copying style. And then here, okay, and then here, remember we got that there, that's it. See how we got that? And remember we got this, get that, we got that, yeah, we got that, and that, that. Okay, just giving the impression here. Let's have a look. So we got that eyes there, right? Now we can see that the nose, now this is what's telling us for the next step. Okay, step number 5, you may look at it. Look, its nose is all clearly out of whack here, right? So as you keep improving, here's the key. As you keep improving, you will see deficiencies in your drawing. That helps you to go to the next step, okay? Yeah, this looks like he's lost his nose, isn't it? Okay. So how are we going to do this? This is a little tricky. I would do this outline of this nose, yeah? Just get this outline of this nose. And I need a little darker color. It's a little dark, so I'm using there, you know? So what I'm going to do is follow this. Just do the bulb of his nose. Okay, there. The bulb of his nose, and then I'm going to do this bit, which is a very important bit, the nostrils, right? And then this bit, you may not think that that is what the nose, that's what gives it shape. So now we can say here, we'll go through here, just forms that. Look how dark that is. Right, then we can say, well, let's pick some light tones underneath his nose. Right, and then always a very light tone that goes above the nose. I would encourage you to draw like this, but you don't have to. You can still keep it at halfway line. But this helps you to improve. There. So it goes all the way here. Okay. And then it's got these tash. I'm going to draw this tash just like as its texture type tash. There. Look, it's got this tash here. And then we'll get to it later. Remember, I'm not trying to make it in one pass. And if you plan to do it in one pass, you better get it out of your system that that's not the way drawing is done. Okay, because you can see that I'm not too flustered. There's a dark touch here, yeah, and then there's a light patch here. So I'm going to just take that down here while I still have that small brush. Okay, now let's see what we have. Okay, look, now his nose is almost defined, but you can't make it out because he's got this cast shadow on that left side of his cheek. So I'm thinking that I'm going to take this up a notch. That's too thick, right? So I'm going to take that and then bring it up, right? So it's more visible. So the eyes, nose, that there. So play with this. Take the turn down there. I think that's all right. So I can take it is here, and then bring that nose, and then let's see if that makes it. Yes, now you can see his nose is creating that shape. Yeah. Now while we're at it, we will do to save that. Always learn to save your work. And then now we can go and do these tiny details that add shape. Right? Go up there. Pick these colors. Right? And then we can see that. Oops, we should. Yeah, that's what we want. Exactly. So here. And then the tash. I didn't capture the black, so I'm going to try again. So, okay. I'm going to have to work through this because I do have another session on the Paintology, another portrait drawing on there. So I'm sorry if I'm going to be rushing a little bit, but I'm not, I will try and keep it there. And then here, look at that, the details of that, how we capture tiny elements of details. There's the black. So we bring that down. And there's on his lips. You can capture that red here. Yes. Because the brush we used before didn't quite work because we were using a broad brush. Do you see how we're capturing tiny details? And that's really the key to good drawing. Look, there's a red here. So try and use this mode when you can. If you're uncomfortable, just keep practicing. There, can you see the white there? There. And then a bit of the red here. All right, that's all it needs. And you'll be thinking, wow, I could draw like this. I didn't think it was possible. So let's go and look at his. Fine, look, that's really come into shape, hasn't it? And now you can say, well, seem to have grabbed some of his head, and his face, but now you can see his eyes, lips are looking was close to what we want, except that it may be a little bit sort of black and white, isn't it? In the sense that it looks too uniform. And so what we're going to do now is, before I go into blending, I would like to tell you about the drawing process step. So now you can see that it's up to us. If we're satisfied with the drawing, because I do take my drawing to a higher level, then I would say, I don't have to work any more details, and what can I use as techniques in order to do the rest. It's like blending, right? Now, if I were to do blending now, in the digital sense, you would all be rushing to the blending tool, but that's not the case with Paintology. It teaches you blending that you can do in the manual sense, right? So let's look at this drawing again, and I'm going to blend his face here. Can you see that? There, can you see that? So I'm going to pick the color here, and I'm going to blend it. And the way we do that is we bring down the density. Look what I have. We have 20% and a brush size of 13%. So I'm going to start off with that. And then even then, I put down the colors, initial colors, and can you see? how it's blending. That's in essence is what's happening here, is that density reduces the opacity of the brush. Let's go at 9%. Sometimes I take it down even more. Right? And then now you can see that there is a very pale color here that we want to get, and that the brush size is way big. So we reduce that. Okay. And then keep looking at that. And then it goes darker here. Right, and then it goes light there, not that. See? So we can take it back there. You can see it, and then you'll see there's some form of blending. I don't want to show you perfect blending yet, but you can get perfect blending if you just use the density setting. There, look, see how it's almost magically blending, right there. That's because the density setting and then you get better and better. I've only just started blending like this a while ago. Now let's go down and look at this. Look at that. The blending is way too good. So we're gonna go here. Then we're gonna say there's a little bit of that dark blending that's going on here. Okay, and then this here. Right, can you see it? There. Right there. That's it. And then we've got this dark here. So this dark here is a little bit dense, so I'm going to increase that. Take that down a bit. And then we're going to take this on that black and then do his, wow, look at that, it's so dark. So I'm going to take it down even bit more, so I have enough, less density to work with, and give that beard. And look at that, the beard. Okay. This is our drawing, so here. Okay. And then you can see the under his chin. That there. Can you see how that worked? And then he's even got black there. Take that down there. Right? See how that worked? So now we can do the same thing. So practice with that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what blending density, you need to practice it. Yeah? I'll show you what the density does. Density allows you to keep building up. See that? Building up the tone. Whereas when you have it 100%, it's the exact tone. Okay? Alright, so let's just go there. It's the white background, right? So let's do his forehead, right? So here I'm just testing around here, 18%, and then I'm just gonna take that dark color, blend it. Now but keep looking at his original, and then you can see that there's a very light tone there, and that's way too big brush, isn't it? So I'm going to take that down, and you can tell when it's way too. Like we're going to pick that color, and then just blend it. Okay, there. And then here, look at that. It's very flat. Very light color of the forehead, right? Okay, so you can see that worked nicely. And then if you look, there's always that touch orange color that around the nostrils, going to be the casting shadow. And we can go around, oops, and let's see, it's got a bit darker here, right there. Right, so we can take some of this black, right, and then around his neck. Let me show you around his neck. There, can you see we're going to blend this? We got like a good percentage size brush, and I'm going to take the density just to 10%, and then I'm going to pick the colors. So this is a very important piece that you need to understand. Ooh, that's a bit too thick. Right here, look at that. This bit is very important. It's the sort of the reflected light of his neckline. Alright. And then we have this there. And then I'm just playing with the tones. This really improves your appreciation of tones. Look, it's a very light color that just stretches there. Just go there. And then we have his shirt here. Yeah. And then here. Excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that. And let me just see where we are on that. Yeah, we've got a line brush here. Just the shirt. Alright, that's all. And then we have these sort of dark tones here. That's all it is. And then how we're going to do that? Well, let's take the density down, and then let's see what we can do with that, right? Just follow what you see in the original tones. It's a little harder than meets the eye, so just use the tone values of the original image, right? Right, and don't be afraid, just use the tonal values and just keep, you've got more strokes to do that you can improve this area, yeah? Then you got, look at that, a very light tone that goes all the way from here, and you can increase the density so you can get there more quicker. Right there. Look at that. You got so high degree of control that you didn't have. It's very difficult to get the same. Look at that. It's a very light tone. In this, that's the neck bone of muscle. So I'm going to try and capture that. Right, and then what do we have here? Well, we've got a shirt going on there. Right, and then of course we can increase the density. Right, pick that, sorry, pick that shirt. There. Okay, and then we can pick that inside of that shirt. There. So let's see what we have here. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? The way you've drawn that muscle. So the neck muscles around. So you can improve on that with just little effort on my part, right? So this is how we blend it, and I think you can see where I'm going with this, and I'm going to try and get these tones, the lighter tones, but they need to be smaller in brush size. So let's try and do that. It's obviously a vary, but I have it at high density there. So I've reduced that density and just follow. You can even follow to the beard. Right, look, there's some lighter tones giving the notion that the moustache, right there, can you see it? It just sort of goes like this, and then we can always make up for it with the blacker, darker tone. Okay, there, and then we have this sort of a greyish tone that's what we picked up. And then just do that. And then a lighter tone here. Let's see how I notice I'm picking up. And then black tone. Right there. Just the shade of beard, right? And then with this, watch how we blend the lips as well. There, with that same tone. You can blend this lips and the dark. Pick the dark tones now of the lips. And then I got that. And then look at this tone here. I can merge that tone. And then we got that lovely white tone. The upper lip, right there. Then change the density accordingly. Alright, look at that. So let's see. Can you see how realism is coming into play here with such little effort? And so it's just a few more touches to make this look pretty good. And I have to end it here. But I hope you did enjoy it and showed you a few things that you can do with one brush. You don't have to dive into all these brushes unless you want to create an anime drawing of this portrait. So you can see how much control you have just simply with the density and the line brush. That's all. And that's how we did it, nothing else. So I hope you could. I have to go now, and please follow me in the next one at 11 o'clock on the Paintology. So I'll see you then. Bye.